Well, I thought I'd give it a go. No practical purpose in doing this. It's another one of those scanning the picture or the diagram, edit it a bit and convert it to an SVG file, and then upload that file to TinkerCad and download it as an STL file. Import that into my Ultimaker Cura slicer. Create the 3D file, print it. Yeah. What usually happens when I print multiple objects like this is some of them come loose on the bed. But I put glue down first this time. We'll see. Right, let's see if we can get the bits off. Because I put glue on the bed to make sure it didn't come loose. It's a glass bed with a coating of stuff that is supposed to grip the PLA while it's warm and release it when it's cold, and it usually works absolutely fine. Just occasionally I have a problem, particularly when I'm printing lots of thin items like this all in one go. They seem to be prone to giving way, coming loose. The worst thing that can happen is a piece comes loose quickly, flies off the bed and gets lost in all the junk. Right. Well, that all came off. That needs a bit of a wipe over with a wet rag to clean it up again. Hi guys. Last night I put together this wooden kit of a violin, Woodcraft construction kit L001. I can remember that. I wonder if you can work out what I've been up to since then. Just to see if I could do it, I scanned in the instructions diagram, edited it a little bit using my, what do I use? Paintshop Pro I use. Then converted it using an online converter to an SVG file, scalable vector or something, I think SVG stands for. And then imported it to TinkerCad and printed it out with my 3D printer. Now, I scaled it carefully, looking at that slot there to try and make that slot 1 millimeter wide, because where are we? That piece goes in there, and that worked out fine. But there is a problem. That bit of scaling worked, but as you can see here, we have 5 layers together, and those 5 layers together should fill that gap, and that gap is more than 5 millimeters wide. So let's see, that's the bottom one. That's the next one. These, I think, are identical. Well, not quite. One of them's smaller than the others. That's the smallest one, so that's the top one. So yeah, if we put those together, like that, and then put, where was it? Put it down. Oh, that piece. That piece goes on there, fits in the slot okay. A bit of, yeah, fits in the slot okay, but I think you can see we've got quite a gap there. So scaling it didn't work quite right. We can space it out a bit and it will look right, especially if I glue it in place. And then the next piece that doesn't fit is the bit that goes through the middle there, which is that piece. And I think we can see quite clearly, if I can get one of these pieces back off again. There's no way that that is going to go in there. So I'm going to have to trim that down, I think. So I'll go and do that. I'll trim that down, because there's no way it's going to fit. It's the right thickness, but it's too wide across there. As I say, scaling simply didn't work perfectly. If it was that narrow, it would fit in there, but that's not where that piece goes. So right, we'll come back in a minute when I've trimmed that piece so it can go up through the middle, and we will use super glue to space them apart. Right, I think I've trimmed up all the bits that needed trimming. So back to the beginning. That's the bottom piece. Oh, didn't trim that. Just a little bit rough around the edges. Okay, that was the bottom piece, which was the top piece, because that was smaller than all the others. That's the smallest piece. Right. So, top piece, that bit should go through the middle. Which it does. So probably need to space them a little bit so that they will eventually match the width there. Just use that as a temporary spacer. I'll just put that in upside down anyway, so that was a waste of time. Right, that way up. My plan is to run a little bit of super glue down there to hold them in place with a gap between them. Maybe if I did the top and the bottom first and then worried about the others afterwards. That would be a plan. But I can't do that with that piece in there. Maybe if I space them on that at the same time. Talk amongst yourselves while I talk to myself and try and work out what I'm doing. Right, that one against there. Yeah, I reckon a bit of glue there to get the top one in place. And then the bottom one. Give that a few seconds to dry. Just get the excess out of the way. I do have some kicker which sets the super glue very quickly, but it sometimes discolours it. Right, okay, so that's the top one. And we should be able to divide up the middle ones. That's the theory. That's my theory. What we don't want to do is get glue on these. And end up with them stuck where we don't want them. I think you can see what I'm working on there, so they've all got a gap between them. And I can run some glue along the top edge. Do something similar just here. So they've all got a gap between them. And then this piece goes on bottom. I think you can see what I'm doing there. Right, now the rest of them should be all right, except, oh no, I put that in upside down and I've glued it in place. How did I do that? I got it right just now. Oh, I've made a right mess of that now. Never super glue. All right, well, in that case, we're going to have to try one of those tricks to get it off again. Some people swear by acetone. Some people suggest, what's it called? WD-40. But yeah, that's stuck in perfect, and somehow or other I turned it upside down when I was trying to get it right. Brilliant, Grandad. Back in a minute. Well, some people would go and reprint that, but I did use WD-40, which is why my hands are all sticky, and manoeuvred it and got it apart. So WD-40 worked. The trouble is, it's now coating it, so it might be a problem trying to glue it back again. But I'll go and clean that up. Well, in the words of my YouTube buddy, Jag Betty, That was a disaster. But we've recovered. Luckily. Have to do all that again. So this is not as quick a build as it should be. Funnily enough, thinking about Jag and the word disaster, I would have used other words, but then I tried to be child friendly, or family friendly is the word, isn't it? I don't use those words that probably came to mind first of all. Right, that's the way up it's supposed to be. I dried it over heat to try and get rid of the WD-40. Because obviously we don't want WD-40 over our violin. Right, that's the right way up. Now, on that piece goes on there and fits nicely. I could put a bit of glue on that first. Okay, these two bits, which is what prompted me to realise I'd done it the wrong way round, slot onto there, and I've already trimmed that, so they should fit. Yeah. So apart from making a complete mess of it just now, we're back on track. Right. These bits are too big because they should fit. Those two bits should be much thicker, so that those would be a tight fit on there. So we're going to have to glue them. Might pay to put these other pieces on first. And these bits aren't quite as thick as they need to be. glue and we'll be okay. And there we go, our little violin. There are a couple of bits there I ought to tidy up. Probably ought to file that piece down where it's sticking up. This one, I didn't use any glue at all. That's all nicely fitted together, nice and tight. So, apart from a disaster of gluing one piece upside down, it's worked. Job done. Thanks for watching. If you want more information, check down below in the video description. If you like this video, you might like this one up here. And if you want to subscribe, you can check out my channel over here. Up here is my latest video on my channel, and down here is a video playlist associated with the video you've just watched. Thanks again for watching.